lately I feel as though there's been a discussion spurred on around exclusives. What's fair game as an exclusive? What feels kind of bad as a customer as an exclusive? This has all been spurred on by the recent Wonder Festival Hiya Burning Godzilla from Hiya Toys, the battle version with the translucent plastic and the Ghidorah pieces. I think that some of these sentiments also apply to the Godzilla -1 HeatRay version from the Tamashii event. That's no word on a domestic release over here in North America. But one thing that kind of spurred on my wanting to record a video was this comment from Meme Master James, saying that Hiya making this Burning Godzilla exclusive is very anti-consumer and shits on its audience. And I think that that's definitely a valid perspective to have, for sure. And I wanted to record this video just to walk through sort of my take on what is fair game for exclusives, but also what feels good as a customer and a part of this community, this hobby, to have as exclusives. Because I think exclusives can be quite fun when they're done properly, but there are also things that can feel really bad as a loyal customer of some of these lines. Interestingly enough, I came across this video from Valaverse. I think this guy's name is Bobby Vala. If you don't know who this is, really quickly, he used to work over at Hasbro as a toy designer. He did a lot of the merchandise for Avengers Infinity War and Black Panther. And he released this video. He's got a glass of alcohol as he's walking through it. And one of the sticking points of this video is that he thinks exclusives are sort of inherent and integral to the nature of collecting, and how they lead to like this thrill of the hunt and needing to chase things down at toy stores. And like right away people are talking about like, no, it's not about the hunt, like I just kind of want the toy. People don't rush out to Target when an exclusive is there for the thrill of the hunt. They rush out to Target because they know that, you know, if they don't get it immediately, they're going to miss out on it. And so it was really interesting to hear from the perspective of one of these companies how they approach exclusives, and to see the pushback that customers had a little bit more broadly speaking on some of these ideas and these perspectives. Now, exclusives are nothing new to the hobby. They've been around for quite a long time, and the company's approaches to what is fair game for exclusives has evolved with time as well. There used to be a time where exclusives contained a lot of unique parts or unique figures, and if you weren't there at the event to get it, it was not distributed afterward, and that led to this, you needing to hunt down things and chase things down. But companies seemingly have picked up on the fact that exclusives are a little bit easier on customers when they are fun recolors and when they're distributed a little bit more widely, and some companies have gone in this direction a little bit more than others. Now, I wanted to touch base about what I consider to be a perfectly healthy exclusive. In my mind, this is the ultimate exclusive. It makes the most sense, and that is the Hawaiian Pink vintage toy hetero reaction from Super7. This was released this past San Diego Comic-Con 2024, and this is just a small, fun $20 reaction figure that is inspired by a vintage Bullmark toy with a really unique story behind it. To me, the fact that this was, it's not a unique mold, it's a really out there color scheme, but there's a story behind it. There's a purpose behind it. It was distributed at the event, yes, but it was also distributed online through Super7 directly shortly after the event. And then even other online retailers were able to get some inventory and sell this to customers. I was able to get this for a really good price from Amazon Canada recently. So to me, this is the standard when it comes to exclusive. It doesn't feel essential to the line. It doesn't feel like if you're just collecting the mainline reactions, you're not missing out by skipping this one. It's just fun to have, and it commemorates a fun and special moment in time. Now, Super7 has another line of ongoing convention exclusives, or not even just convention, because they also did it for Godzilla Day. But the glow variants that they've been doing since, I think, July 2022 are another example of an event exclusive that they do at the booth. It doesn't feel necessary to collect. and they distribute some online after the fact. Depending on the event, they might distribute some through retail partners as well. This latest wave, I know Anguirus showed up at my local Canadian e-tailer, but for the most part, these are a little bit more limited in nature. And I say that because, where is it? Where's my photo? There we go. This glow set was San Diego Comic-Con 2023, and it sold out incredibly quickly relative to the other waves of the glow variants. To this day, Hedorah and Ghidorah command a huge price on the aftermarket, like going for hundreds of dollars. Hedorah a little bit less than Ghidorah. I see Hedorah more often. Ghidorah, like, forget about it. You're not going to be able to find Ghidorah for a reasonable price. And I actually know a couple of folks who started collecting the glow variants who are just really soured by some of these releases being long gone, and now there's just a hole in their collection that they're not going to be able to fill for a reasonable price. So if you're going to have an ongoing series of exclusives, I think it's important for these customers to keep in mind that, or not for these customers, for these companies to keep in mind that there are going to be long-term followers of these exclusive series. And I think it's important to think about the experience of what it might be like to miss out on one of these releases and feel like your special exclusive series is now just incomplete forever, basically. Now, getting back to this idea of releases that don't feel essential to collect. They don't feel like you need to have them as part of the main line. In New York Comic Con 2023, Super7 released this HeatRay Godzilla 1989 figure. And I felt as though this walked a really fine line between something that is essential to have as part of the line and something that is more just neat to have. You know, it did utilize some glow plastic and the green glow. I thought it was kind of unusual that it wasn't the blue glow in the dark plastic, but you know, it was a fun little thing to commemorate the release. It was a really cool slipcover too. Now that being said, I do feel like their broad distribution of this release alleviated a lot of the sort of pressure and pains that I have with exclusive figures. This was sold by Super7 online. All the big e-tailers picked it up after the fact. If you really wanted the HeatRay Godzilla, you were able to get your hands on it. And even after the fact, I think you might have seen it go on sale at a couple of locations. So, you know, while I would argue that Beam Godzilla, HeatRay Godzilla is an on-screen character and is really close to being something that's more essential to have, the fact that it was so readily available made up for that fact, and anybody who really wanted it was able to get it. Now, one company that I'd really like to pay credit to, that I think I owe credit to given how much I've talked shit about them in the past, is Mondo. Mondo has really turned around on their release strategy for at least some of their releases and some of their convention exclusives. So, for example, this Cherry Blossom Godzilla from Godzilla Kong the New Empire, this along with the Kong were an open pre-order during San Diego Comic-Con 2024, meaning that if you wanted it and you could afford it, you were able to order it. I think that's awesome. I think that's a really good way of handling it for Mondo. You know, Mondo still has their limitations. We could talk about the fact that their final figure prices have basically exploded, but that is a topic for a different video. Now, let's get to the big boys. Regarding HeatRay variant of -1, making this an exclusive to Japan hurts for a number of reasons. As I mentioned with Super7, I think that Beam variants walk a really fine line between being something that is essential to a line and something that is, you know, just sort of nice to have or is, you know, a unique color scheme. I think it's fair to say that the HeatRay in -1 is so impactful. It is such a critical moment that this doesn't feel like an exclusive that commemorates like a fun moment in the hobby. Like, to me, this is a critical depiction of Godzilla from the movie. We have so many posters of him with his spines lit up that to make this an exclusive and a little bit more limited in nature, especially when compared to the general release, I just don't like that. And I think that the kicker with this release specifically is that you have this unique beam mold that is so cool. This is such a cool shape. And then, of course, he also comes with the Shinden, the plane, an accessory in a line where fans have been clamoring for accessories for a long time. I don't like the way that this is handled. And then we have Burning Godzilla Battle version. In my initial coverage, I initially talked about how I thought that this was fair game because this was a variant of a repaint, and you know, that seemed okay, although I did feel like the inclusion of the Ghidorah pieces was a bit icky. I have since come around on this, and I feel that this, like the HeatRay -1, ultimately just feels bad as a customer. This release is clearly the definitive version of Burning Godzilla, with the redone spines and the translucent plastic and the alternate fists. And it's the definitive version of Godzilla from the climactic moments of King of the Monsters. And it is both event locked and geo locked. That is to say, you can only get it if you go to the event, and you can only get it from the event in China. That I just really don't like that. I have come to learn in running this channel that no amount of explanation or justification that these companies can offer can make up for when something just feels bad as a customer. When it just feels bad, there is nothing rational you can tell me that makes me feel less bad. HeatRay -1 and Burning Godzilla Battle version are figures that capture some of the most important moments of these characters from these movies. And to have them so very inaccessible to fans and customers seems like a mistake. Now, I originally hoped to get a review sample of Burning Godzilla Battle version from INS Hobby, but they have since informed me that they were not able to secure enough stock to even fulfill the orders that they received. And so they ultimately had to refund a whole bunch of orders, and they were not able to allocate one for me. I don't mind that I was skipped over to ensure that someone who paid for it was able to get theirs. So, you know, more power to that person. I'm really glad that they're able to get it. And, you know, what is the use in me receiving a review sample of a figure that the vast majority of people who want it aren't going to be able to get it? It really serves no purpose. And if anything, it may twist the knife a little bit more. So I'm not going to be reviewing this figure. I do not have a review sample coming. I hope that both Hiya and Tamashii Nations are able to change course on how they handle these releases. And, you know, I hope that they help us give them our hard-earned cash. So that's going to be it from me. I do want to let you guys know on this, October 23rd, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing a live stream over on channel. His name is Spire Talon. Talon was a channel member for a little bit here on KaijuCanuck. His -1 Super7, I think he was the first one to review that figure, so that one really blew up. And yeah, we're going to be chatting about all these different companies making things and talk about where we stand, what we like about these companies' stuff, and where we think they might be able to do better. So I'll be sure to share that closer to when the stream is, but until then, I will talk to you again soon. Take care. See ya.